it wasn't until really late in my life that I found the courage to slow down and not just go and crash into things. I used to think that if I said I've got problems or if I asked for help, I'd be really weak. But I literally remember getting to the point where I literally was hanging off a rope, and I thought to myself, I don't want to do this, And I remember ringing up because people for years have been telling me to see a shrink and get some help, and I always thought if you see a shrink, you're nuts, or you're weak, and literally I've said this repeatedly since I wrote the first book. The most courageous thing I've ever done in my life was stopping and asking for help, and I think that's when I changed, when I did that.
Were you scared when you first told your story in Working Class Boy?
You know what? I was scared when I first wrote it because there was a lot of stuff that I hadn't looked at. There was a lot of stuff I didn't ever want to think about again. And in the process of doing it, I'd be sitting at my computer writing, and this would trigger another memory, and then stuff I go, because there was stuff that I'd completely blocked out. I didn't want to remember, and it came back to me, and it was very painful. So every day I'd finish, and for a period of about a month there, I'd finish writing, and then I'd ring my therapist. I'd have to speak to someone about it and say, and then he'd trigger more stuff, But it was something that sort of ultimately that set me free.
The audience loved you as the wild man of rock and roll. When they saw you as this vulnerable, hurt, traumatic child, and you put yourself on the line. How did they react then? And particularly male fans, I'm kind of interested in what their reaction and their connection, how that changed.
Well, the initial thing, when I started to sort of, stop, drinking 3 bottles of vodka, a night, particularly on stage, a lot of people going, what are you? What's wrong with you, We like you better when you were drunk, and all this sort of stuff. When I wrote the first book, it stunned a lot of those sort of blokes. And I started talking about it, and it was very uncomfortable because blokes don't like to talk, as you well know. We don't talk about, vulnerability or anything like that. When I did it, it sort of, I think in a way, for a lot of people, it gave them the opportunity to, to do it themselves because they'd been struggling. I remember when the book came out, I'd be walking down the street and no kidding, blokes, big, burly blokes that you just wouldn't, truckies and stuff would stop me and start crying, talking to me and just saying thanks, thanks for, and now I'm going to see someone and, I'm dealing with my own stuff. My wife's left me, it's all too late, but I think I've got to do it, And it was really touching. And for me, that's probably the best thing about writing the books. But I know it saved my life and all that. Give that opportunity for me to look at it and give other people an opportunity to look at it was something really special.